Good morning, all my fine feathered friends. And I'm finally here. It took a while. I had, I don't know. Man, NyQuil really does a number on me. I so NyQuil hangovered. But I'm okay now. I'm running fine now. So here we all are. It's the alert. Well, there we go. Good morning. Go back to bed. I'm up. We're moving. I'm just not going to do any of the... We're going to keep doing this stupid stuff because it makes me feel better. So, besides, it looks good. It looks cool. We already got one wing in. That looks fine. And this wing can be duplicated on the other side. And we'll just change its whatever. I did discover last night that this is on the wrong side of the what's it, so I'm gonna go find the other missile area, which is somewhere, I'm sure. Yep. Sounds good to me, Donald. I'm gonna stream for a while and then go back to bed. Yep, that's what we're gonna do. I just need to figure out where I put that other missile door. Because here's the missile bay on one side. I don't know where the heck it went on the other side. Fix this. Identify it quickly by doing this number. At least now, Daz. Right? I found Benadryl, so that's useful. Super useful. The Benadryl's great. I need miso soup as well. Man, miso soup's good. Ooh, doggy. I think there is miso soup downstairs, so I might actually do that. So we're looking at I-E-J-E and K-E. But we'll be fine. We'll be fine. Miso soup is the best. So, the port missile bay is reversed and in the wrong spot, which doesn't surprise me, at least for some reason. I'm just not shocked that it's not in the right spot. Yep, they are. The best part about streaming all of this stuff is I have absolutely waterproof ability to it's completely waterproof as a copyright claim. That actually made me feel better, strangely. Because you know how copyright law works, right? You copy my design and I take you to court, and then I have to prove that I had it first. And if you're a big company, I don't stand a chance anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But if you're a little guy, then I can sue you and you have to capitulate and stuff. And so that's what usually occurs. So what we do is, if anybody ever tries to steal Bellatrix Rising stuff, I can sue them and prove in a court of law that I have done this before. I'm always open to sponsorship. That's what my Patreon's about. Right? I mean, so here's the thing, and that's the thing. Part of my copyright claim is this right here. I have literally hundreds of hours of proof that this is not only my idea, but my design. And there's evolutions here. There are different versions of this spaceship. There are different versions of all of the ships. Everything's on here, and it's literally on YouTube. So if someone steals it, good luck. Because in a court of law, it is pretty straight up that I did this. And if they have so much money that it's, that'd be fine. We can do that. If they have so much money that they can defeat me in a court of law by putting more lawyers on it, then I wouldn't have made it for anything anyway. There's no way I would have survived anyway. So that's pointless. They would have gotten what they wanted out of me anyway. And I can make a mess out of it on the internet. Yeah, I mean, today, of course, is like I'm sluggish and stupid, but I won't always be sluggish and stupid. All right, I need. Oh, I didn't have a hole on it, didn't I? Yeah. I did see the shirt you forwarded. It was very cute. Also very Deadpool. That was good. I love Deadpool. Yeah, or Superman. I mean, that's the classic. It's the classic thing. I mean, really, honestly, my thought here is I will do my best to hold my copyrights and things like that. But in the end, if somebody really works hard enough and gets enough lawyers on here, I'm screwed no matter what. So I'm not taking a fatalistic approach. I'm just saying that I know, I'm aware, I'm cognizant that this is a reality. And if this is the way it goes, this is the way it goes. And I accept that and move on. Sometimes life just gives you crap, and that's just the way it goes. It's just the dice roll against you. The thing is, just like Cisco said, they can't take what's up here. Or Benny, I guess. It wasn't really Cisco, it was Benny. They can't take what's up here. So I'll just change all the things again and start over. And by then, I will have gathered more followers, I would suspect. So we'll just keep going. I mean, if anything I'm learning from this whole thing that's going on with AI, it's there's no way you're going to beat money. You can't beat money. So if it comes down to my hope here is to stay low enough key that nobody sees me unless somebody decides all of a sudden to super jump me from comic book writer to consultant on a movie or whatever. That bypasses the whole thing, or I end up somewhere else on this design, and that's fine. Or I'll just stay low enough key that nobody knows about me but you guys, which will be fun, and I'll be okay with that. I have a story to tell. I really don't. I mean, the whole point of this is that I have to tell this. Preferably before I die, because it won't help me after I'm dead. So, anyway, it's somewhat fatalistic, and forgive me for being somewhat fatalistic today. I have a cold. But, it's the truth on this one. I have a head cold. It makes me fatalistic. Hey, Benny. Oh. And not the button I wanted to push. Which is all right. My story may be a good story. My story may be a bad story. Who knows? Nobody knows. It might really suck. It might be really cool. I'm not worried. Hopefully. But I'm not hitching a wagon to this. I'm just doing what I do. And I just keep going. The massive major goal that I'm after here, is to beat my ADD. That's the end goal here, is to beat my ADD. ADD has run my life, my entire life. And this is proof positive that I've kicked ADD's butt, or at least ADD is under my control now and not vice versa. And that's the important piece. That's what's significant. This is a personal victory for me, which is the same happening with Can. That's what's happening on his side, not with ADD, but with other demons he's chasing. So this is a personal demon I'm chasing. And it's the reason why we are working so hard on that. Right? I don't want it to be a crutch. I'm over it. I want it to be my bitch, not vice versa. Because I can use the hyper focus. I can use that. I can use the upper intellectual. I agree. All of you guys are wonderful human beings, and I love you guys so much. And I hope you guys know that. ADD's been a thorn in my side for my entire life, and I'm over it. I am so over it. And so it's all good. But yeah, I mean, this is my baby. This is most important thing, sure. But if I have to abandon it, I will come up with another story. I mean, heck, I'll go back to Tamerlane. At least that would be the devil that I did know, right? I mean, my bailout on this one is to go back to Tamerlane if I need to, because I know. I mean, at least I know CBS. I know when they will decide I'm not allowed to use their intellectual property, they'll be pretty vocal about it. You know what I mean? Like, that's fine. I'm good. You know, and I'll just keep making a fan comic, and that's fine too. I like the Unity logo too. So, you know what's interesting about the Unity logo? It's the original patch of the Tamerlane. Ish. I took a Benadryl, so I'm running a lot better now. My nose is not clogged up and being a pain in the butt. But yeah, Bob, the Unity logo is the original Tamerlane patch that was on. Here, I'll show you. I am so loopy. It's so funny. Do-do-do. See, it's literally 1-to-1. Yeah, printed copies also act as a copyright, but that's the Unity logo was the original patch on Tamerlane. Yeah. Good old Julie Cochran, whom is now Chain. Anyway, I was over here futzing with this. Benadryl's great stuff, man. It's keeping me operating. Yes. Okay, no problem. No problem, Donald. Just not today. You don't need this crud. So I'm not giving you this crud. Not today. Not the one. Not the one. Zathras. I love Zathras. Zathras was awesome. And if you don't know who Zathras is, you guys need to all go back to Babylon 5 school. Did my music just die? The day the music died, we were singing my Miss American Pie. But the levee was dry. Them good old boys, drinking whiskey and drinking whiskey and singing this will be the day that I die. There we go. Yep, the one. Well, Bob, I know that you know. I'm going to clean that up. Hey, Donald, but can you afford that? I mean, like, I know you're on fixed income, dude. I love you, man. And I appreciate you so much. And don't get me wrong. Don't kill yourself. It's not worth it. Ugh, I am so freaking fuzzy brained. I am so fuzzy brained this morning. I am likely to say something really dumb, guys. Just giving you fair warning. My ADD filters are low, so just keep that in mind. ADD filters are way low. Likely to say something stupid. All right. Alrighty. That looks good. Yep. All right. Here we go. Oh, hey, cool. That's awesome, dude. I'm glad. I worry about you from time to time in a good way. Not in the weird way, like I worry about Can. I worry about Can in that weird way. All right. I like variable width lines. So, okay. There's a story behind the lines. I am effectively taping my spaceship. For those of you that follow Michael and Denise Okuda, there is an ongoing discussion about taping the sets of Star Trek. What they would do is they'd go out with gaffer's tape and put lines on all of the set pieces. Black lines that go along, and then they kind of do things and they run around and loops like that. I appreciate that. And so what I am doing here, and this is crooked, is I'm taping my set. I'm about to duplicate this wing, so I'm paying a lot of extra attention on it because I'm going to duplicate it. You need to line up with you, people. It's a wing. How far off that was? Wow. I'm glad to hear it. I have a lot of inside jokes on this spaceship. Right, it's and Doug Drexler. And the funny part is that he just relayed a story this morning that cracks me up because they were talking about the Runabout set, and I've lost the name. The line producer was like, I need somebody to go in here and clean this setup a little bit. And Doug's like, I'll do it. And he's like literally bouncing. And the director looks at Denise and he's like, is he okay? And she's like, yeah, this is him normally. And so he's like, no, I want to do this. So he's like, the director's like, look, we don't have time to tape it up. They're going to be on set. The actors will be here on set in 10 minutes. And he goes, that's 5 more minutes than I need. And he jumps in there and starts taping the set. And it was just so freaking funny. And I'm like, I totally understand. I have said this before. One of the things I really love about Doug Drexler is Doug is a Trekkie. And so this was a lifelong dream of his to work on Star Trek. So you could convince him to do anything, including powder John Delancey's butt, which is what he did in his first job in there. And so it's a lifelong dream, which is the reason, by the way, I am here, even though really I ought to be in bed. I'm not really up for bed. I'm just going to lie in bed and fret over this until I get here and do this. So I might as well freaking do it, you know. Get in here and do the work. I want to do this. I desperately need this, so Q-tip, probably. So anyway, I get such a kick out of everything that Mike and Denise talk about when they're Mike and Denise, and then especially when they talk about Doug, because he's such a riot. He's so weird, and he's my kind of weird, and I totally could appreciate that. You know? Nope, that's way too thick. Access panel here. But I love reading those things. Like you read that and you're like, yeah, I do that. I mean, we're not gonna lie. By the way, nothing in the graphic design of Bellatrix Rising is centered. I'm just saying. I don't know why, but they don't look good with these things being centered dead on. Those little extenders on the graphics and the art design, it doesn't look as good if they're dead on. Don't ask me. I don't know why. All right. The only problem with putting my keyboard here is, boy, if I'm in fuzzy brain mode, like I am today, it is hard for me to remember to hit the controls on the side of my monitor and these here. Yes, although that was actually legitimately a discussion that Matt Jeffries had. And when he built the Enterprise, the reason there's no paneling on the Enterprise model is because he built it like a submarine. Everything internally can be worked on. You can work on it inside the ship. And that was intentional. He specifically did that. And logically so, the spacecraft he assumed would be always in space. The Kittiwake follows a similar model, except that the Kittiwake lands in atmospheres. So she can settle in an atmosphere and have panels opened and stuff like that. So she's more like an airplane because she's atmospheric. But like the destroyers, there will be no access panels on the outside of the destroyers. The only thing you can ever use access panels on an actual spacecraft in vacuum is to access it, to enter it so that you can shoot up the crew, right? I mean, like, there's no other reason to have that. The Kittiwake lives on she lives on the ground, so she can also, and that's true of most of these ships, is they live on the ground, so. So I'm actually following Matt Jeffries' rules on spaceship design and construction. And every time you guys are on this show, I hope you guys appreciate the little bits of Star Trek information you're getting. Because you're getting it whether you like it or not. I'm just saying. Because I live and breathe Star Trek. In fact, I have been sick, so I've been watching Star Trek. You guys are shocked, I know. Yeah, well, Jeffries was Air Force. So he was working, but Roddenberry was Navy. So the two of them probably had lots of discussions about this that made some sense to all of the guys. This doesn't need to actually be right at all, because any layover on this is going to end up just making this not look like it's supposed to. There we go. It would, well, and for Lower Decks purposes, because Lower Decks will always be Lower Decks. And if they can take one step, why not take 20? 'Tis the nature of the show. I love Lower Decks so very much. It is one of my absolute favorites. But the meta stuff is actually really funny, because they're taking this point that we've all been thinking, and all the Trekkies have been thinking it, and here we are all thinking this, and then they finally do something, and it's just hysterical. Yeah, kind of like putting a balloon on the side of the ship and filling it and making a work chamber. My wife's absolute favorite character is Beckett. Mariner is absolutely her favorite character of all of Star Trek. All of Star Trek, there is just no question. If I ever get to see Tawny Newsome, I have to get Beckett's autograph for her. Beckett Mariner. I don't know why I'm saying Beckett. It's Mariner. That's all right. Issues today. I chalk all of this up to being weird. So Donald, the question that I would always have is, imagine if you had damage to the underside of the hull below the red line on the hull. Right? And so you have to go under there somewhere and fix it. They're going to work really hard to do as little as you need under that red line, right? So they're going to make it so you can work on everything inside the ship. And that's pretty much what we've got going on with Jeffrey's theory in life. Because I think you're right. There would be access points one way or another to do things, but I don't think it's going to be I don't think you'll have that many. Like, this door right here is directly above the main thruster engine bay. But I'd be willing to bet that inside the ship right here is an access hallway, which allows you to get to the engine bay right here. Did I even put that on the deck plans? Because I probably didn't, not thinking through this thing. Yeah, engines. Here's an engine port here. Yeah, these are the engines right here. I just put batteries in, apparently, because I'm these need to be those main engines, though. Right here and right here. Those two main engines, and then there should be an access hallway on this side and an access hallway on this side. So you should be able to fix the engines internally in this room. These are the engine rooms on this side. We didn't have those engines when we first put this together. Right? I think the other thing that would be right around the engines, on the engine cores, would be vents to space, right? Turn off the oxygen, or turn off the atmosphere to that room, wait 10 seconds, flush. It flushes everything out, right? Turn the engines off, wait till they cool. Once they've cooled down, you cut off the main valves to the entering into the room. Then you flush it out the back of the ship, vent it out the back. Once you've done that, the room should be clean. Nothing like hard vacuum to prevent things from getting you. Hard vacuum is great for that. All right. Yeah, anywhere with hazardous gas potential. I like anybody gassing things as Star Trek. That cracks me up all the time. Like, I'm just going to vent this to hard atmosphere, and then you'll just have to deal with that problem. That's up to you. Yeah. Yeah, I think, well, that's part of the reason why the pilot houses on these ships are in the forward bay. Is because the ship will often need some kind of situational repairing of some sort. Placing in place. Good. Looking good. Yep. Well, that's the neurozine gas that they used all the time in Star Trek. Yeah, flooding the areas with neurozine gas. Which I assume was a neurotoxin. Or maybe not a neurotoxin, but maybe a neurotoxin. Or maybe it is straight up a neurotoxin. Nope. Yep, that's exactly what they do. Well, in Space Seed, that was actually exactly what they did. They used Neurazine on them in Space Seed. To great effect the first time, but then Connor figured it out. So. All right. Let's do that. Let's see if this works. We'll take a look at it here as it loads and updates. Come on, update. There we go. Updates. There we go. Both wings are in. Look solid. Good. And she's coming along prettily, including the Achilles. The Borg don't suffer from neurotoxins, so that's not going to be something they're going to deal with very often. The Borg don't suffer fools lightly either. All right. That's a couple of wings in. So the arrow on the wing is another inside joke, if you're ever wondering. From one of my favorite shows as a kid. And I wonder if anybody here has seen it and recognizes it. That would be, it's a deep cut. So I'm going to let you guys guess for a minute or two while I go on ahead and go back in and fix other pieces. Most of our time with this thing in reverse, so let's go ahead and do this. Let's see. There we go. Yep. They actually fought at one point in time in the comics universe. Entertaining sort of comic. All right. Those doors look closed and sealed. Missile pods, and torpedo pods, they look solid. Torpedo pods still clear the front wings. Why there's an arrow on the wing? Right here. What does that mean? It's another reference, an internal homage. It's not to Star Trek though. It's to another childhood show that I had at one time watched. It's not Gatchaman though. This one's not from Gatchaman. Although, man, the Phoenix, definitely a thing. It's Century 21. Could be. And here you go. That's what I'm referring to. Another one of my favorite shows as a kid. Yep. And one of the planes has an arrow on the left wing. And I don't know why, and I don't know what it was, but I always honed in on this plane every time. Every time I watched this show, I'd home in on this plane because he had the arrow on his wing. And so because of that, I put an arrow on the left wing of the Kitty-Wake, and only the Kitty-Wake. No one else gets an arrow, just the Kitty-Wake. That's how you'll always tell that it's her. Man, F4U's best planes ever built. Whistling Death. Man, they're good planes. You ever heard one of those guys on a dive run? The noise. You don't forget that. It's like the cry of a banshee. It's so terrifying. It's very terrifying and way cool. when they dive down on a Corsair and they start coming in and they pitch over for a run, it whistles because of the nature of the airframe. It whistles, and the whistle that it makes is so cool. Yep, Whistling Death. It's the way they experienced it. It's the way they experienced that aircraft. They experienced that aircraft whistling it. And I got to say that must have been this side of terrifying. I've heard a Corsair at air shows, they'll do a dive bomb sometimes, and when they do, you can hear it, and you're like, oh oh, oh, you know, because you're like, yeah, I get it. Totally get it. But yeah, I will always have a soft spot for Black Sheep Squadron. That'll never be not the case. Black Sheep Squadron. So mom worked on a show called Centennial in the 70s. And um, and that had Robert Conrad in it. And apparently, because I don't remember it because I was way too young, Robert Conrad picked me up, put me on his shoulders, and walked around for a while, daring to have them knock me off his shoulders because that was Robert Conrad's thing for the Duracell batteries thing. So he was making jokes about that. And nobody did because I was a kid, right? I mean, I was so young, I don't remember this. This was the story mom told me, which makes, the pseudo biopic of Colorado. Yeah, mom worked on that, so I was on the set, and it's funny because I do remember some things from that, but I don't remember that one, which is kind of a bummer because Robert Conrad was cool. I liked him, so I don't know. I mean, I was watching Black Sheep Squadron at the time. So I can't figure out why I wouldn't remember that story, because I do remember the train coming in at one point in time. I was an extra, and so they had me dressed up in these like 1800s clothes. And I remember the train coming in, and I remember being so fascinated by the train. And I remember the director specifically said, nobody talk about anything modern. And I was hooked up with a couple of other people who were extras as well to be my parents, because my mom was a line producer, so she wasn't on the set, she was doing work. And so I kept talking about like the space shuttle and stuff like that, and the actors who were with me were like, you gotta stop doing that, dude. And now looking back on it, I'm like, I was such an idiot. But I was like 6 or 7, so I mean, you can't really expect a whole lot. And I remember that scene, and I remember mom paid us for it, because that was the big thing, was she gave us like $10 because extras don't get paid. That's the thing, or at least they didn't at the time. So, random stories from my life. I mean, it's just like a thing. It's like such a weird. Right. In 1870, we'll tell you that the shuttle was still very much in development at that point. Oh, you mean like at the time? Yeah. Well, I wanted to talk about space stuff because I was being a pest and a dick. And so I keep remembering that story specifically, so that when my kid starts doing stuff like that, I'm like, you have to remember, you literally went against the director of an entire miniseries because you just wanted to be a dick. Remember that. So, oh, I see. Yeah. Well, that's why we wanted to talk about it, was because even back then, I was, I'm conflating two stories. That's right. That story is from a movie called Elizabeth, which was the story of Baby Doe Tabor. Another made-for-TV movie that nobody has seen, but that was in 79 or 80. So that was later on, which makes sense. I don't remember anything from Centennial because mom and dad were still married and together at the time when Centennial was made. Because when dad passed away last year, I went to clean out stuff, and there was a bunch of Centennial paraphernalia that he's been keeping forever that now I have, which is fine. That's a family tradition. That's a family history thing. But yeah, now that I think about it, I'm conflating these two stories because, yeah, that's it. Yep. That's all right. That's okay. Benadryl strikes again. Benadryl strikes again. Bam, bam, bam. Benadryl strikes again. Boop. That was one of Dad's happy moments from when we were little. Mom and Dad were buddies up until the other day. Yeah, no, I'm conflating two stories, which makes sense. That doesn't surprise me. It's hard. I mean, 76, I was 4, and I don't remember. And then Baby Doe Tabor's story, Elizabeth came out in like 81 or 82. By then it was 10 or 12. Yep. Yeah, I don't know how good it is. Legit have not seen it since rescue instructions. Legit have not seen it since the since the 80s. In fact, I wonder if it's out there still. I wonder if you can find it. It would really suck if like that movie's gone. You know what I mean? Like, just make it. I don't know if I want to put do not lift. Or no step. The problem is A, I don't think there would ever be no step anymore. I think they'd be like no contact would be what it would be. Because it's not just stepping. You're in 0G floating around outside the spacecraft trying to fix a thing. And maybe this is not a spot you not only just don't want to put your weight, but you also do not want to actually try to flex through the hull piece there. So it'd probably be no contact instead of no step. But I feel like there might be. thing. Seems like it'd be such a waste. That was such a big production. Interesting. Yeah. Well, I mean, my first thought is that we have to think about where would we be on spacecraft if we were where would we be on the spacecraft if we had to rescue these guys, right? We have to find them, we have to get them out of here, we have to rescue them somehow, sort of thing. How would we do it? I need to grab this piece right here. This piece would be a wing piece on the underside of the spacecraft. I haven't seen print here. Yeah, the lifeboats are here. That's what these stations are right there. Those are lifeboat stations. Lifeboats hold enough to hold the entire crew plus another 10. And we'll clean those up on there. Lifeboat stations, the two main lifeboat stations sit to the port and starboard of the mess hall. Yep, the Titanic rule. In the military, we don't need that much extra room. These are all the access doors for ground crew. These guys back here need to be adjusted. Nope. Just crooked out here. Anyway, but get that off of there so we can hear what we're selecting when out. Here, you'll actually notice that this is moved 4 inches. Last time we saw that, that was a couple of pixels lower. Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Not only that, our spacesuits on here are space tight and hold for 2 hours. So the lifeboats also have the ability um, to refill spacesuits. So worst case scenario, you send some of the guys to sit outside the lifeboats. That's the worst thing that has to happen. And they sit on the lifeboats or whatever. And there's spacesuits that you just plug the spacesuits in, and the spacesuits continually recirculate air and stuff like that. And so they're okay. Well, there's one underwing. There's a little bit more detail on the actual wing spot. Is that crooked? Why is that crooked? Why is that crooked? It's not. It's not crooked. These are crooked. Because this line's going with the line of the line of the compass. That's running with the line of the flap, which is fine. Right? Where do we find graphically? What do we do? Do we go with the actual run of the spacecraft or with the flap? Who are we with here? What piece of this are we doing? All it has to do is it has to look intentional. Like we meant to do this. Okay. There we go. We're going to have to do the underhaul here in a minute too, and that's going to be unpleasant. Not horrible, but unpleasant because the underhaul is a whole bunch of hexagons. I think I might have messed it up pretty good. Hoping not. Hoping not. There we go. On the wings, the wingtips, yeah, RC thrusters, yes. There's reaction control. The underwing RC thrusters are there's top wing and there's underwing. And I don't know if I like the fact that they're not aligned, but I don't think I care that much to align them. So there's a flight control surface that we have to worry about that folds in on the two wingtips, and those are they act like the finger feathers, the feathers that are on the wingtips of birds. The birds have a very tip feather, which allows them to give them really fine control over the atmosphere. And that's what those are, is extenders that come out on either side. They fold out to give control, fine control over the flight. Inside there is also a bunch of antenna and things like that, which allow for extension so that they double use. Those things. The military, it's got double use. Yeah, it's more based on the flight of it's rather than put it on trim tabs would be on your control surface, the flight surface, whereas these put it on the wing into the come on guy, airstream, puts them directly into the airstream, which gives a lot more control, fine motor control over the outside edges of wings. It's back to, you have hundreds of thousands of years of evolution to say that birds are the most, millions of years of evolution to say that birds are the most finely detailed creatures. And though the birds can pivot their wings to make them more aerodynamic, the control on the flight surfaces of the wings of the bird are not the trailing feathers on the wing. So you have two control surfaces here that we use on this. And one is the big flaps in the back, which give you much more lift if you need it, or it can be air brakes, right? Like totally stop everything. They can go up 90 degrees and become complete air brakes. The second important control surface are the wingtip trims, which we can control. Plus, there are two, flaps 90. Imagine flaps 90, though, is for air brakes. That's the same thing as opening up the spoilers on the wings, right? You open up the spoilers, and we spoil all of the lift, and the aircraft comes down. Same principle. We're all still working on Brunelli's concepts here. Just, in varying different weird ways. should probably also still have the Unity logo on the underside of her wing. So let's do that. Because all aircraft Unity have the logo visible from below. Because you're under them all the time. We're just saying. Same wing or same spot. All right. In the Bellatrix world, the identifier numbers are always in English because they have been using the spacecraft since before the consolidation of all the languages. So the identifiers are always still going to be, DD, FS, BB, all of those. The Kittiwake is a Corvette, so its designation is FS. Yep. Since she's a Corvette, you want to see that under her wing. Like I said before, I just realized how huge this thing is still. That's still 5 stories of spacecraft. So when she's sitting on the ground, the ramp is a ramp of 1 story, 1 complete story, all the way up into the loading bay under there. You're still, it's more than 10 feet to the wing. Nobody can actually reach up and touch the wings. It's actually further to the engine nacelle than I expected it to be. Because I have a scene. Yep. I have a scene where Bennett is supposed to be having an access door open on the engine nacelle. And the legitimate truth is the bottom of the engine nacelle is 10 feet off the ground. So she can't actually reach it without a ladder. Which is not a problem. I could put her on a ladder. That's not the way I envisioned the scene. So it wasn't a problem. Just noticing the interesting issues that go on with this. Okay, we're going to turn off all of that real quick. Then we're going to make sure this is all one unit. Yeah, we're actually going to take this entire unit right here and just put it literally on the vertical stabilizers. But primary aircraft or spacecraft designation are always going to be in-universe explanation for it is, why did you turn blue? That was really weird. Don't do that. Thank you. The in-universe designation for it, and the reason why it's up there on the vertical stabilizers and everything like that, is because they did spacecraft stuff before they did before Tamabeshi was invented. The out-of-universe reason for it is because people have a hard time seeing Tamabeshi and understanding what it means. So I want that little bit of recognition, and it's the kitty wing. You know what I mean? Like, we want to be able to tell that it's our hero's ship. So though I love Tamabeshi, the reality is I want most of the rest of the stuff to be read in English. So, yes, exactly. What's her tail? Tail designation. It's a convenience. Agreed. There's a certain amount of concessions that I'm making for expedience. Right. I mean, we want to be able to tell. Gravity blades, please. Thank you. But gravity blades are different. That's how we did it. Okay. One of her gravity blades has the QuaCk logo. The other gravity blade has the Unity Saturn. But I actually, what I will do is take this segment here, and instead go over here. I'm going to change that as her port side blade should read the logo and then a letter of designation, because I like the one of the things I really like is World War II era high visibility markings. Especially on spacecraft that are ground capable. You want to be able to see them in a lineup on a tarmac. They're waiting for a thing to happen. There we go. .510, by the way, is the NCC number of the USS Tamerlan, if you are wondering. I don't think anybody was, but yeah. Okay, let's go put this on the other tail before we start deleting stuff. We start regretting all our places. Both. So, NCC 510 is the USS Tamerlan. Hang on real quick. Oh, hold, please. I apologize. I have lots of coughing problems. I'm not having a real problem. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm having no problems. I'm just trying to figure stuff out here. Hmm. There we go. Yeah, Benadryl just doesn't get the gunk out of my throat, which reminds me that in a minute I'm going to have to go downstairs and deal with that. So yeah, 510 comes straight from Tamerlan. This is my first model of the Tamerlan that I made. I can tell because the second model actually had divots cut out for the photon torpedo tubes on the top. So she was much, much cooler looking. Close to the nose like that. I don't know why I can't find more pieces of, or more shots from that particular version of Tamerlan, the newer version. I can find all of her texture maps. So I could re-render her if I really needed to. But who wants to do that? That's a mess. But it seems to be sort of an ongoing thing for me. Yeah, in about 10 minutes I'm going to put it down. Yep, Saladin class destroyer. And you can find her on the page in the tech manual. It says USS Tamerlan NCC 510. She's in the tech manual straight up. All right. Back over here. Nope. Wrong layer. Yeah, Strange New Worlds did make the single nacelle destroyer cannon. That was the USS Archer, which was cool. Nope. Line up. That was interesting. Not exactly what I expected to see, but okay. Yep, another throwback to World War II. High visibility ID numbers or ID letters. Which again, yeah, they don't show up pretty decently on there. At the moment we have the gravity blades extended, so it's going to have to be, we'll have to just kind of use our imaginations. It takes a little effort to get the gravity blades back in at this point. We're going to have to do what we call a morph target to get those gravity blades because they're at an angle. They're 45 degrees out. Actually, I'll probably just turn them. Yeah, the markings, it also gives a feel of not familiarity. It's not really the word I'm looking for, but a feel of military, like gives it a feel that it is a military vessel. And we don't know exactly what caused them to. I mean, well, we do. There was a war at one point in time, and they did the thing with the war, and all was good. But they left the painting markings on the spacecraft for it. Either way, she's looking good. She's coming together nicely. Solid spacecraft coming in. And we don't have any of the front of the ship yet, but that's okay. We'll go through and put in some minor fixes to various pieces of her. We'll lower her landing gear, fix up the landing gear, make sure that that's good, make sure that the engines are solid. The good news is now texture mapping is actually really simple. It's just time consuming. It's not hard. So, I mean, I can continue the texture mapping, and it's not an issue. It won't be a problem at all. So that works for me. So yeah, the Benadryl dried everything up. At least I'm not draining all the time. But I don't feel hot, so that's all right. I'll go downstairs, grab some food, and eat something for lunch, and then maybe I'll go back to bed. I feel better, a little bit better. Like it's less up here in the top part of my chest. Ugh. Yeah. Oh, we should check the undercarriage. Make sure everything's fine. Yeah, it looks fine. The wing looks good. Gotta admit though, just as a side note, kind of like this shot right here. Sitting on the wing, just looking up at that vertical stabilizer. What you'll notice, the vertical stabilizer also has wingtip control units. Nose gear looks too far back. Really? I don't know. Maybe. Yeah, nose gear looks like it's solidly on there. Yeah, we're good. Ooh. Nose gear does need to stick out more. It's hinging here where it's not supposed to do. So I'll have to fix the bottom. It's hinging way low. It needs to, yeah, it needs to be a little further out because the door is supposed to open. The door is supposed to open like this and hinge in an internal hinge so that it comes out more like that. So that the seal is sealed up, upward seal, so that once that door comes out, it breaks the seal for the landing gear compartment. So we'll fix her. We'll get that. We'll get into that. Here, the gear command or the gear stuff is already built. I'm just going to have to go back and make it better because the gear was at the same scale as the rest of the ship. And now I want it's at a higher resolution on the new maps. And the reason is because people will be standing next to the gear, the landing gear. And so if they're standing right next to the landing gear, you're going to want that huge landing gear to have little teeny danger, don't push this, don't stand on this, all the little warning signs all around the landing gear, to indicate this is a bad place to be, you don't want to be here, sort of things, so that the gear can look solid when you're standing next to it, and I've got people standing next to it. I did the same thing with the landing ramp. It's a higher resolution than the rest of the map because we're going to have to put caution tape and watch your step and all of those things on the landing ramp, knowing that there will be people. Yep. Originally, she didn't have that extra arm pressing down. I was just gonna, because sometimes I like slightly impossible engineering. I really like impossible engineering sometimes, so I originally didn't put that extra support strut going straight down into it, and I was like, she's tough and rugged. You want her to be really rugged, so you want her to be able to whap and land on the ground, just really hit the ground. So I just think that probably was a better idea and better choice to make it extended now. Take that hit. So, all right, I'm out of here. I'm gonna go get food. I'll see you guys tonight. It's Thursday night. Yes, Thursday. So I'll see you guys tonight. And until then, as always, you guys listen.